I have not one, not two, no, start over. Not one, but two completed objects to share with you. Hello, my name is Michelle, and this is Michelle's Fiber Studio Podcast. Today is Monday, March 31st, and this is episode number 44. It is a cloudy, raw, rainy day. We're coming off of a storm system that gave us, 4 inches of snow on Saturday and freezing rain on Sunday. It was a weekend to sock myself in and just relax. And I did a whole lot of that. It was glorious. But more on that later. I have not one, not two, no, start over. Not one, but two completed objects to share with you. So I'm very excited to talk about that. But before I do, I wanted to make one programming note. I think I have decided that I'm going to switch the drop date for the podcast from Tuesdays to Thursdays. I'm finding that my weekends tend to be kind of busy. I can't always get my recording done. I try to squeeze it in on Monday, but sometimes that doesn't always work either. So if I drop the new episodes on Thursday, that gives me Monday, Tuesday, or even Wednesday still to get a recording done. So that's what I'm gonna try. I'm gonna see if that works a little bit better for my schedule. So today's episode, I'm still gonna drop tomorrow on April 1st, but starting with next week, they will come out on Thursdays. Okay, let's talk about what Marta is wearing. This is a fairly old sweater. It is the, scroll back up in my sheet here, the Knit It Down by Tapp. It was a pattern that I first saw and knit out of Creative Knitting magazine way back in the day. And any of you remember that magazine? Is it still? I don't think it's published anymore, but I could be wrong. At any rate, I knit this back in, I started on December 19th of 2007. Yes, 2007, which means it is closing in on 20 years old. And I completed it on January 31st of 2008, so it took me just over a month. It is knit out of LRA Classic Print. It is just a colorway number 217, which is blue. But I love this sweater. I have worn it a fair amount. And I am gonna actually save more comments about this sweater for a little bit later in the podcast when I'm gonna kind of refer back to it, which is why Marta is wearing that today. So with that, let's go ahead and dive in. So as I said, I have not one, but two completed finished objects. I finished 2 sweaters this last week. I am so excited, so excited. Let's talk about my Longline cardigan first. This is the second one that I finished, but the one that has been lingering for so long. Oh, look, there it is. Here, how about I throw it on for you? I should have taken this one off. Oh, nope, taken off the wrong layer. That could be very bad. I completed this on a Saturday night, and oh my gosh, it feels amazing to have it done. I am so excited. It still needs a good block, and then I can officially call it done and wear it. But it fits me really, really well. Let me push my chair back. And I know my camera doesn't allow me to give you a full body shot. I can tip it down a little. Will you be able to see? Not really. But here, you know what? I'm gonna go this way and I will back way, way up. There we go, huh? If I move Marta. So it fits. It just fits so good. It's an open front cardigan, so it's not supposed to close. But I could wrap it. I could pin it with those little pins that I just got in Florida. So maybe I will continue to wear this for the rest of the podcast. But I am so thrilled. So let's talk about the yarn one last time. I knit the bulk of the sweater in Regia Schackenmeyer's Bamboo Blend. This is yarn that I picked up 4 years ago, I do believe, at my local yarn store before it was closing. And when I decided I was going to knit this sweater, I knew that I was probably going to not have enough yarn. So I picked up some Gusto wool core, and again, a color number 97 at my new local yarn store that I ended up blending in, and I used every last bit. This is what I have left, and that's of the Gusto wool, the core. I used up all of the Schackenmeyer. So I blended, can you see? Oh yeah, it shows up on the camera really well. So you can see where the striping starts, and then it moves into the Gusto wool, which is just a little bit darker. So I really like the effect. I think it is super cool. And it was really a great way for me to extend the yarn that I already had and knit the cardigan that I wanted. I didn't actually quite have enough Gusto wool to knit the bottom hem. The bottom hem is actually 4 rows, oh, well, this part of the hem is actually 4 rows too short, but I decided I didn't care. And it was fine, it's fine, nobody's gonna know but me. And it hangs down so low that it's just really not necessary, or not so much not necessary, nobody's gonna notice. The sleeve length is good, like the sleeves fit really well. I probably really should take measurements of what this sweater came out like, because it just fits great. Fits amazing. So I'm thrilled. So that is project number 1. Oh, again, my Longline cardigan is by Locatelli, and I first cast it on July 20th of last summer. So this baby took me, what, 9 months? Oh, no wonder I'm exhausted. Feel like I just birthed the baby. No, at any rate. All right, so that's project number 1. The second project that I completed is my Faro sweater, which is by Tara-Lynn Morrison. And this one I completed, I think, on Wednesday. I cast it on March 9th, and I completed it March 26th. So it was, by comparison, it was an exceedingly fast knit, lightning fast. And for that one, I used Joji Long Andiamo, which is a wool alpaca blend. And I remember if you recall last week when I was sharing this project, first of all, I itemized a whole bunch of concerns that I had with the pattern. I'm thrilled with the completed sweater. As a matter of fact, I wore it Saturday. We were snowed in, and I wore it all day Saturday, and it was amazing. So I'm really happy with the finished sweater. Pattern was kind of a bear, but now that it's done, I'm glad it's good, it's fine. But at any rate, I could tell that I was running out of yarn, and as I shared last week, that was one of my frustrations with the pattern, because I am knitting the smallest size, and there's a 10-inch difference between the smallest size and the largest size, and the pattern calls for between 300 and 360 yards, 360 yards being at the largest size, which is 10 inches larger than what I'm knitting. I had 350 yards, and I felt pretty confident based on those numbers that I should have enough yarn. But it became clear as I was knitting through the second ball that I was not going to have enough yarn, so I picked up a third ball. That's what I have left. Yeah. I used almost 3/4 of that ball. I have 53 yards or 60 grams. It's a 200 gram hank when I got it, and I have only 60 grams left. So it's not like I dipped into this ball just a little bit. I used almost 3/4 of it, like seriously. So that said, it's done. I'm thrilled with it. I have wanted a bulky, super bulky sweater, cozy sweater for several years, and this absolutely fits the bill. And I'm very, very excited. Now that I have completed those big projects, it was time to shift my focus. I dug out my secret ingredient make-along, which is by Katy DeGroff Knits. This was a make-along that started back in, well, I cast it on January 29th, so it must have started at the end of January. And I quickly fell behind, and then I almost as quickly decided that I just needed to focus on my other projects, and because I had too many big projects going. So once I finished with those sweaters, so Saturday I finished my Longline cardigan. Sunday, yesterday, I pulled this out, and I worked on this pretty much all day. So the last time I showed it off, that's where I was left, and I had split. You split, you only are working half and half. So I did from there on, and then I was able to go over to the other side, and I knit in this section. So this section started with the whiter color. That's where this section picked up. So I knit from there up. So I got that all done in one day. So I was pretty pleased with that. I thought that was pretty good. As a reminder, let's talk about my yarn on this one. Okay. As it's dragging all over the place. I am using yarn completely from Stash, which is very exciting. Two of my yarns are my Hypnotic yarn, which is my monthly subscription. So I have these two yarns. The purple here is Love Language, and the red is Picnic Basket. And then the last two yarns are leftover from my Amayo that I knit last summer, my brioche shawl. And I have this one here, which is Haute Knit Yarns Jimmy Sock in Summer Clover, and then her mohair in 38. So I am holding the mohair with my purple yarn, which is my color A. Okay, get back in my bag here. I got such a mess going on over here, you totally cannot see. But believe me, it's a mess. So I am holding it, there we go, you can kind of see it in there, and it's being carried with the Love Language, which is really, really lovely. It's giving it a fantastic effect. It's the colors in the Summer Clover are being picked up so perfectly, and it's so soft. I can't wait to have this one done as well. A, because I want to wear it, but it's just so soft and so pretty. And of course I have another project that I'm itching to cast on that I've had the yarn for a little while too. So there is that. So I am nearly done with the second clue. Now that I've got to this point, I think I'm just getting ready to start the slip stitch section here. So I've got all of that, which looks like a lot of knitting, but it actually will go fairly fast. So yeah, so there, that is my secret ingredient make-along by Katy DeGroff Knits. And then the only other project that I worked on, and again, that was really this weekend, because in the week I spent really all of my available knitting time working on those sweaters, was my Northeasterly Blanket. Oops, yarn just went rolling. So I am behind. Today is the last day of March, and so in theory I should have all 12 of my March colors in here, and I do not. I believe, I didn't put a marker in, but I believe I had finished this color and I was just getting ready to start this color here. So I've added this color, and I'm halfway through this color, this tealy blue, which is color number 6. So yeah, I'm only halfway done, but that's okay, I'm patient, and it will be fine, and I'll get caught up. It's not a big deal. So that is the mystery yarn, a mystery knit along blanket with the yarn from Woolen Woman Fibers. It's the Murder She Knit make along. The pattern is by Katie Stevens. Of course, I'm crocheting it. There's a knit version as well, but I have chosen to do the crochet version. And that is pretty much it. I might have done like one row on my Musselburgh. I don't even know if I touched my Musselburgh. I don't think I did. And I do know I knit like, I don't know, maybe 3 or 4 rounds on one of my fingerless mitts. I'm a little nervous. I might not have enough leftover yarn to finish those, but I didn't even bring them over because there really wasn't enough that was done on them to even be worth talking about. So maybe this week, now that I've got the sweaters done, I can get those popped out. That would be pretty good, but I'm thrilled with my progress for this week. Well, I finished a couple of sweaters, so you probably remember I have got 4 or 5 sweater quantities that I acquired in the last 4 months since the fall. So last week, towards the end of the week, I decided to pull out one of them that I want to work on next, and I got it wound up, and Saturday night, when we went to visit my mother-in-law, I actually worked on my swatch, and I got it swatched. I had finished my Northeasterly. I was like, had this much left of the bind off that I didn't get done before we left. So I left that at home, but I did bring this. So my next project that I want to do is another one of these sweaters. I really like this sweater. It's so comfortable and I like the fit. The V-neck is a little bit deep. So reknitting it, I definitely don't want to make the V-neck as deep. And it's a little on the big side, although not terrible. I think it's mostly more about the V-neck and the yoke. That's just a little bit too long. But other than that, everything else about it is great. So I took it out yesterday. I did a ton of measurements on it. Measured the heck out of it so I can know how it came out. And I did this swatch here. I'm almost gonna get myself out of order here. This is my Wonderland Yarns Mary Ann. The colorway is After the Storm. And this was a limited edition colorway that came out last fall, and it was a fundraiser yarn to raise money for vendors and small indie dyers who had devastation in their businesses due to flooding in, I believe it was the Carolinas, that happened last fall, right? So I bought 3 skeins of this. So here's my full skein. And I have decided that I want to recreate this sweater with this yarn. The little trick is going to be that this is knit in I'm pretty sure it's a worsted weight yarn, and this is a fingering weight yarn. So I have my gauge swatch that I knit. I'm happy with my gauge, I'm happy with the swatch, and I think I can make this work by knitting the largest size in the pattern, which is supposed to be like a 3X, but with my gauge should give me pretty close to what I want. I might actually have to increase my stitch count slightly. So it's gonna take a little bit of finagling, but I feel like it'll be a doable thing, especially it's knit from the top down. So I will know right away if my yoke is working, or pretty close to right away if my yoke is working, and I should be able to make some adjustments from there. At least that's my hope. I'm pretty confident that that's what's gonna be the case. So I'm super excited. Tomorrow is my birthday. April 1st is my birthday. So my hope is when I get home from work tomorrow, actually I gotta work out, and then when I get back that maybe I can cast this on tomorrow night. I got those other 2 projects done by the end of the month, which is what I wanted. So this one is next up on the needles. Well, last week finally was a fairly quiet week. I know that I recorded on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. I didn't hardly leave the house for the whole week. Wednesday, we did have Bible study, but I was just too tired and I stayed home. Thursday, I took a mental health day. And you have to understand, this was a big deal for me because I have never taken a mental health day. I have never taken a day just because to stay home. I can't even talk. I've always ever just been sick, or I've had something to do, or someplace to go, or something of that nature. But I have been so mentally exhausted. I'm like, I just need a day. And oh my goodness, it was glorious. I got a whole bunch of knitting done. I got some TV watching done. I relaxed. It was fantastic. Friday night, my husband and I went out to dinner to celebrate. He had started his new job and the completion of the first week, and so we went out to dinner. And then Saturday and Sunday were another couple of days that we were really mostly in. We had a snowstorm that came in on Saturday morning. We woke up to snow, and we ended up with about 4 or 5 inches of really heavy wet snow. Of course, it's spring, so it is wet and heavy, and it doesn't last long. It's already, you know, I wouldn't say it's mostly gone, but it's definitely melting. And it had finished. That storm had cleared out, or it had pretty well stopped by, I don't know, 1 o'clock or so. So we went out, we got groceries, came home, and then we did go out and visit my mother-in-law, as we typically do on Saturday evenings. But then Sunday morning, we ended up being home all day, and hold on. Okay, I don't even know what they were barking at. They get each other going. Anyway, Sunday, we ended up being home all day again because we had freezing rain all morning long, and so we canceled church and didn't leave the house. And it was another glorious day, and I got a lot more knitting done. That's when I got all the knitting done on the shawl that I finally pulled back out. So it has been a really quiet week, which has been pretty good, pretty grand. We're heading into a busy week this week with Odyssey of the Mind, because next weekend is our state tournament. So that is gonna occupy a lot of time with some last minute details and such. So it was really nice to kind of clear the slate, as it were, and, you know, and kind of clear the air. So that is all I have for today. I thank you so much for listening and tuning in. If you enjoyed this episode, please give it a like and subscribe to the channel so you know when I have new content out. A reminder that after this episode here, I will be dropping new episodes on Thursday. I will have links down below in the show notes of all of the things that I have talked about. You can find me on Ravelry and Instagram as Knittin Michelle, KNITTIN MICHELLE, and you can also email at michellesfiberstudio@gmail.com. With that, I hope you have a wonderful week and happy knitting.